Ayer Board of Selectmen meeting, June 7, 2016, calling the meeting to order. Before we start with the agenda, if you could rise and repeat after me. No, you can repeat anytime you want. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. This is becoming a yearly problem with the robotics team. But we changed the agenda because we're going to put it at the end of the agenda. So you guys can stick around for the whole meeting.
Makes the room look fuller.
Do we have anything to add to the agenda?
I have nothing. All set.
A motion?
Make a motion that the agenda be approved as submitted in the packet.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Andromeda 1. Here's Shirley First Robotic Team Recognition. Do you have, okay, we still need Chris to sign that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Over the past 3 years, the Ayer's Shirley First Robotics team grew from 40 to 60 to 76 members, with more than 10% of the high school students on the team. The team won the highest honor award for 3 years in a row, the Rookie All-Star Award in year 1, the only New England team to ever win the Chairman's Award in the second year, in year 2, and the Chairman's Award again this year. Let's talk about their robotics. The Rookie Andromeda 1 robot, proudly displayed in our high school library, earned the team a spot in the district semifinals. The second year Andromeda Squared robot performed so well that we qualified for the New England Championship. This year's Merlin robot came in second place in the district finals, ranked 18 out of 181 teams in New England, and qualified for the World Championship in St. Louis. This is great. You guys did. Can you build a Selectmen? Probably can, huh? A dedicated Mass First subcommittee kicked off a campaign to get First Robotics in every Massachusetts school district, resulting in meetings with Representative Benson, several members of the Governor's Office, and Governor Baker. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Gary.
The team students presented to the superintendents and school committee members all across Massachusetts at the MASS conference. The team is training new robotics coaches June 11th and presenting to the state legislature on July 20th. A first Lego League tournament will be hosted in the Ayer next fall. Cool. Congratulations to the student, the mentors at Ayer Shirley First Robotics Competition Team, 4905, Andromeda 1. Does anybody have anything to say or want to come up and? State your name and I know we got, okay, state your name.
Christine Miska, 9 Madigan Lane. Coach of the robotics team, just want to thank you, the Selectmen, for recognizing the team. The kids worked hard. We have a lot of mentors who volunteer their time outside of work. We have no teachers on the team, so we have 29 adult mentors who volunteer their time. So extra big thanks for them making that contribution and bringing this STEM program to our school.
Yeah, it's obviously taken off pretty good. And everybody, it's probably one of those things that just gets catchy and
Yes, yeah.
and infected and yeah.
Infectious is really the
Yeah.
Not infected.
I don't think that people realize the commitment these guys put in. Is it 4 or 5 days a week? You guys are there. I mean, it seems like nonstop working on this weekends and.
Right, so we start in the fall once a week on Thursday nights to get people trained and build a team and get ready. And then we learn the robotics game challenge every year at the beginning of January, and we have 6.5 weeks from learning the game to designing a strategy and a robot, building it, testing it, putting it in a bag before competition. And we do meet about 20 hours a week for almost 7 weeks straight, and then we go on to 2 competitions over the weekend, 3 if we make it to New England, 4 if we make it to St. Louis. So it is a significant time investment. What's great is the kids come back the next year. It's a major time investment, but it's infectious, like you said, and people have been excited about it, and it's been growing every year.
That's great.
We're hoping for some new freshmen.
It's a big commitment, and even for the parents. It's a great thing for the town. So we get a certificate of recognition here. The certificate is awarded to Andromeda 1. Ayer Shirley First Robotics Competition Team 4905, and valuable recognition of the many accomplishments the team has achieved over the last 3 years. On behalf of the entire town of Ayer, thank you for your hard work, and best of luck in the future. Gary Luca, Chair; Chris Hillman, Chair; Vice Chair; Chancellor Livingston, Clerk.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. You want to get a... Oh, you know.
You guys want to round around both sides, maybe?
Yeah.
And we'll let Abigail accept the certificate next to you, Gary.
There you go, Abigail.
That was official.
Yeah, hold that. Yeah.
Squeeze in, guys.
Go ahead, squeeze in.
Get in the front.
I'm tall.
No one needs to see me.
Be above everybody.
It was great. Do it again next year.
Oh yeah, we're going back to St. Louis.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Can I come?
Yeah,
If you guys
sure.
pay for me, I'll go. That's great.
You'll like the bus ride.
We are looking for more. We are looking for more mentors. You will.
I was gonna say, I'll put him to work immediately.
Well, my kids were band kids and everyone.
All right,
Thank
congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Christine.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Chris. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you guys. I'll see you again next year.
Oh yeah.
Okay, will do.
We had a cheerleading team that went to Florida.
Yeah.
Won the national championship. This
Yeah.
is what, their second, 4 years going to
Yeah.
Atlas.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
I know it.
It's great.
In the band. Get the band.
The band has done fantastic.
Are you lost, Robert?
No,
I told you it was
If we have
back
anything to add
and
to
forth.
the job, just do it on
No, I
the
don't think
slide.
so. Yeah, we'll just do it. Thanks.
All right, just one other announcement.
It's two packet things.
I should have done the announcements earlier, but community meeting about the Ayer Dog Park on Thursday, June 9th, 7 o'clock, here at Town Hall. Town of Ayer is holding a public meeting to get public input on the design of our proposed dog park. We're excited to be moving forward with the design and the construction of the new dog park at the site on Snake Hill Road. Project is funded by a generous grant from the Stanton Foundation. Here are the proposed plans for the project: 2 separate fenced play areas, one for larger dogs and one for smaller dogs. Facility will span about 1 acre. Amenities will include shade structures, benches, water stations, and play structures. Public meeting will provide Ayer residents with the opportunity to hear information regarding the site, design, concept, and amenities. Public input is important. And make sure the dog park is safe, successful, enjoyable for all residents. If you have any questions, call Superintendent Mark Wetzel at the Ayer TPW, 978-772-8240. Do you have any other? Nothing else, right?
Just trying to turn the air conditioning down. Besides that,
You think? I'm melting.
I know it's warm there.
Public input. Do we have anybody for public input? Mary? Anyone else? Yes.
Should I come?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This would be real quick. When the Energizer Bunny, otherwise known as Ed Kelly, was putting up the banners
Mhm.
before Memorial Day, he told us that we're missing a lot of the hardware on the poles across from Town Hall here, right
Okay.
at the end of the crosswalk.
Okay.
There's no hardware for a banner going down towards the fire station. There's either one or the other, room for a flag or no, or vice versa. And the new poles on West Main Street have no hardware at all. So he didn't know if that was an error and we didn't get the whole order, or we got it and they haven't had time to put it up, but he'd like to see that taken care of.
All right,
And I have one more thing.
thanks for bringing that to attention.
Yeah. There seems to be an assault on police officers in this country, which is horrible right now. They're getting shot, they're getting run over with cars.
Yep.
I'd like to see us have a policy in this town so that when a police officer from the state of Massachusetts is killed, that we will automatically lower our flag until after the funeral. I don't think we should have to wait until any politician tells us to do it. I think it's a good, respectful thing to do. And I would say that the same thing would apply to our men and women in the military, as we're now in the 14th year of this war. So I'd like to see that policy from your board. Thank you.
Thanks. Yes.
I certainly have no problem with her idea, but the thing with the flag is it really is state governed, federally governed, and there are certain rules as to when you can lower the American flag. So, I mean, it's something that can certainly be looked into, but unfortunately, I don't think that we have the authority to be able to do that. So then we would have to maybe try to come up with some other way if we can't do it. But I certainly like the idea.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. Personnel Board. Come on up. I know it. That's why I wanted to change the agenda and put the kids on last. Oh, you missed it. You were here. Good evening. Okay, we're here to talk.
Take it over.
All right.
We're here to talk about Corey policy and sexual harassment prevention policy.
Yes, sir.
Sam.
We have the board, personnel board. We conducted a public hearing on May 4th on the adoption of the two employment policies for the town of Ayer. Policy against sexual unlawful harassment and the criminal offender record information policy, CORI. We reviewed it at length with personnel, payroll and personnel, and vetted it, covered it as best we could throughout the course of a couple months. We voted on it, unanimously approved it, and recommended that we forward it to the Board of Selectmen for adoption into town policies. We've made it as broad and encompassing as possible, but enough latitude so that we can use some discretion at the same time.
Questions? So with the Corey first, obviously. The question I have is, Corys were limited to, wasn't there one person in town or a couple that would call for the Corey? And I thought it was the police station.
There are several.
No.
There are several area town departments that do have the ability to run Corys on their own. The police being one of them. The fire is also one. The parks is another. And I think that kind of rounded out about the individual departments. And that left the rest of the employees in the town uncorried, and that's where this policy picks up at that point.
And who will be in charge of it? Does it? And do you have to do training, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
And this go under Kevin?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
if I may. So the Department of Criminal Justice Information Services has revamped their CORI process. There are new training modules. There are new criteria that must be met with regard to safeguarding the information, the processes that are used, and any release of the information. So the existing CORI administrators in town will follow the same processes. I will be added to that list, and we will pick up the gap where we lacked CORI checks in the past.
Okay.
So there are standards, they're published, there are training modules,
Mhm.
and the town is mandated adoption of policy is one of those mandates from the DCGIS, GIS, and the town is mandated to follow the administrative policies going forward.
I see the changes that the state put in are in here too, because you can't just arbitrarily not give somebody a job, but there's certain criteria that goes with it,
Correct.
right? All right, Janice?
Now, I know this is definitely for new employees, but will this get redone on existing employees?
That is the intent going forward. I'm sure that once the policy is approved, the town administrator and I will sit down to make sure that we are following the processes appropriately and set up the local standards that will be in place with regard to what we do with existing staff and how we incorporate this in the processing going forward.
The policy covers all but one classification of town employees. Elected. We can't do elected.
Probably don't want
Lucky
to.
you.
Almost
It's
safe.
There's no way to unelect, or, I mean, it just does not, the policy statewide does not encompass it.
That was one of the areas that we had sought some clarification on, because one of the concerns, obviously, with Corey is the type of person you want touching the town's money. So, and we do have some elected officials that are responsible for that. So one of the things we wanted to find out was there a way that that would help protect the town's money with the elected officials? And it turns out there isn't. So there are going to have to be some, internal protocols to help safeguard.
It's a good reason to make them appointed. What?
Well, if you didn't say it, I was going to say it.
Okay. So this is the intent is to incorporate this in the personnel policy, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
No, I think it's a great idea.
That's good.
And they're good, I mean, so they're good for, I mean, obviously it's employees, so you'll figure out a random, or however you do it, moving forward to how long or
I don't think they
whatever.
have a shelf life on them.
I think individual agencies, like I know with the parks every year, I believe, or like for basketball, you have to do a query every year to volunteer at the school, which makes sense with the children. I know when I work for the state at the prisons, it's every 3 months, I believe, theirs have to, which obviously makes sense. So I think it's a little arbitrary based on the situation. I don't know if there's a, definitive.
No.
Yeah, makes sense that every agency might have their different reasons for checking more often, obviously.
Your motion?
I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve, wait a minute, the criminal offender record information Corey policy as presented by the Personnel Board and in the packet of tonight's meeting.
Second.
Moving to second. Do we have any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
This is the, Mr. Chair, this is the original for signature by the board.
Okay. Great.
It's a good idea.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, on to,
The second policy was the policy against sexual and unlawful harassment. That was an incorporation between sexual harassment and unlawful harassment in the workplace.
question I have, is there any such thing as unlawful harassment? I think through law, if you're talking about harassment, you're talking about just sexual harassment.
Well, that was,
No.
no,
That's-
no.
Well,
No.
that's an issue we had with one of our employees and through town council. Robert, do you remember? Through town council,
What are we talking about here?
The differences between just regular harassment and sexual harassment?
No, what he said was lawful harassment. If there is a lawful harassment versus an unlawful
No, it's
harassment.
Oh,
just the
no, no.
terminology.
no, I wasn't, I'm well aware of the sexual harassment part of it because we're big on it at the post office. And we have been for years. But I've never heard of unlawful harassment. I understand the intent of it, but I've never heard of it in a policy.
Well, I'm sorry. From my experience having been in the military, part of unlawful harassment is also, can sometimes even coincide with fraternization. Because that would be an undue favoritism and somebody's being left out. It can be simple things like, and this again, this was for in the military, okay? So this is what happened in the military is that, you know, it can also be unlawful harassment as to the working conditions that one person is being subjected to, vice another person is being subjected to. One person may get a 4-hour lunch, and the other person may not get a lunch. And it all comes down to an aspect of bullying. It all comes down to, like I said, there's an undue familiarity. It's not something concrete you can describe. Okay, but it all builds up into one thing, and it does come down to harassment. And then it comes into evaluations and things like that. So there is. It's hard to describe because, like I said, it's not something concrete that you can put your finger on.
Yeah, I've never heard of a policy for unlawful harassment.
Then
Plenty
we're-
of policies.
We're first.
Well, I just want to make sure that it's legal.
Mr. Chairman, if
Yes,
I may.
Kevin.
The policy on page 2 speaks specifically to unlawful harassment or practice. And I'm just going to read one section.
Okay.
It references the Civil Rights Act of 1964, prohibiting discrimination against any employee due to their race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. So the title of this policy is broad in its scope, but specific in its detail. Sexual harassment policy, prevention of sexual harassment policy would be just that. By adding any unlawful harassment to the policy, it's a one-source document for any type of harassment. And I just made one citation of reference for unlawful harassment practice.
So that law's already in the books, it's federal law,
It is,
and we want to incorporate it in this.
correct. There, we
And
did-
it's even in the Mass General Law.
When we were doing our research on what the most appropriate content for this would be, I believe it was the Mass Commission Against Discrimination had a template of information just like this. And we took that information, and it's recommended for all employers across the state.
Mhm.
If you're going to combine harassment document, to include this sort of language, just to state the practices the town follows in accordance with federal mandates.
Well, if I deny Chris a job just because he's not doing my heating and air conditioning in my house for nothing, that's still covered under the law, correct?
Well, that's somebody you're hiring.
It's still harassment. What if I?
No, because if you're talking about, in this scenario
No,
you
I'm not
just
hiring. I don't want-
but in the scenario you just showed the example of,
Mhm.
that because he didn't do something at your house, you decided not to hire him for something else.
Decided not to do what I wanted.
Yeah. But if you hired him to do your house and then he didn't do the work that you wanted him to do and was paying him for, then it's different. But are you saying that because he didn't do your house that you wouldn't hire him for a town employment job? Well, see, there's something you would have to recuse yourself for.
No, not being a chair of a selectman.
No, I'm not talking about being a chair, but I'm just saying.
You know what I'm saying? Just everyday Gary Luca hiring Chris Hill.
No.
I don't think that covers.
No. Unlawful harassment is, I did not feed you cookies and then brush the crumbs off your shoulder. So you decided to make me work 14 hours a day while everyone else went to the Chiefs Club and then came back and yelled at me for not feeding you cookies and brushing crumbs off your shoulder. That is harassment. That is unlawful harassment.
Under the same section that Kevin was just talking about, I don't know if this will clear it up. It says harassment becomes unlawful where enduring the offensive conduct becomes a condition of continued employment of the continued employment of the conduct is severe or pervasive enough to create a work environment that a reasonable person would consider intimidating, hostile, or abusive. So it's almost saying that it's a pattern, that once this becomes part of your work environment, that's when it crosses the line. Is a one-time slip-up acceptable? Probably not. but is it creating the unlawful harassing environment, is the question. And I think that's what this is looking to define.
I understand where it's all coming from. I do. I wish town council would look at it and see if we can legally put it out there.
But haven't you already
Yeah.
fully vetted this because you
Yeah.
first brought it to
Oh,
us
it
a
was?
few months ago?
So this.
So town council,
Yes, and on
Okay.
the unlawful harassment or practices, why it has all of those citations, the Civil Rights Act of '64 and so, that's what was missing before in our policy.
okay. I just don't understand. We had an employee that this was an issue with, and town council said it doesn't rise to the level of harassment.
Well,
And the examples were given tonight. So I'm just,
I understand what you're
Why-
saying, and
how did it change?
I think you're correct in why you're puzzled. Because you're right.
However, this gives us a guideline to go by now. I mean, if this was in place back 2012, 11, maybe
Yeah.
we could have.
well, I mean, the Mass General law, and there's state law and a federal law, and they were in place back then.
Yeah.
So if town council missed it, then I'd like to know why they missed it.
Mhm.
I agree with you.
No, I think
Yeah.
I agree with him.
Yeah, no, I do too. But I mean, this gives us a baseline to go by. I mean, obviously, as you know, being police officers, these things are sexual harassment. They're broad. It's hard to dissect sometimes what's really happening, what story you're getting. I mean, at least you have guidelines to go by. We have guidelines to go by.
And that's what
In terms-
these are really
Exactly.
solidifying the.
Gives us
the
guidelines to go
that
by
we
if
have.
it becomes a
I
disciplinary.
understand. I'm just, the scenario we had before and the ruling we got from town council is a lot different than what this is. So I'm just,
and I
I
can follow
err on
up
the side
on
of-
in that context. I can follow up on that. Why was there a discrepancy in that? It was vetted just by council in the context of the policy.
trust me, I tapped a guy on the shoulder and he filed a complaint against me. He didn't like to be touched. Bottom line, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know it's out there and I know what the issues are with it, but up to the board.
One of the also important parts about this, we wanted to incorporate a training that was required by the employees so that they would have a routine training on this.
Absolutely.
And that's something that Kevin is going to be seeing to as well. We thought that was it was actually missing from the original, and it was something that we wanted to make sure that was added into the context of
It
the
should be
policy.
part of employment, an aspect of employment.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Mhm.
on September 13th, there is preventing workplace harassment training scheduled here in this building from 1:30 to 3 o'clock for all town employees.
And they'll be notified.
They'll be notified appropriately. This is part of a professional development and training program that was put together in fiscal 17 for our staff. The first training will be mandatory to the extent that we can make it mandatory given the work requirements. And the subsequent training certainly will be briefed on with them as they come up over the course of the year.
That's great.
Will they have to sign off on it, or? is
They
it-
will. For each of these policies, it will be delivered to every employee,
Yep,
and there is a sign-off sheet that will be
Okay.
included in the personnel.
Okay.
And it will be incorporated into the new hire packets as well.
great, thanks. Anybody?
All right. So I'd like.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I wasn't sure if you were raising your hand.
Oh, no, I was
Okay.
gonna make the motion, but go ahead.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Selectmen accept the Town of Ayer policy against sexual and unlawful harassment as presented by the Personnel Board and also in the packet for tonight's meeting.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you, gentlemen.
thanks for your
Thank
time.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a good thing.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, thanks for the reminder.
No big.
Yeah, I thought I
Shut mine off.
it's on silent. I don't know why. Sorry. Sure, that's fine.
Alrighty. Do you have Danny or so?
I
All right, Chief Murray? And your group?
And the group.
And the group.
Evening, everybody. Thank you for sitting in. You remember Heather Sherry and Katie McCarthy?
Yep.
Both are part-time employees of the town currently. Heather in the records clerk position and Kaylee with our dispatch staff. And my request tonight is to bring them both up to full-time status, effective July 1. Both have surpassed our expectations. I don't think we need to go out and look for other people to do the jobs that they're already doing. They're doing a fantastic job. The fire chief, I've already spoke to him about Kaylee, and I don't want to speak for him, but he was very positive about his.
He's giving a thumbs up.
About the full-time dispatch position was approved at town meeting to get two. So Kaylee will take over one of those. And Heather's job, she's just done a fantastic job, and she's going to allow our cops to get back to being cops and stop pushing papers.
Yeah.
As much as they do now.
Cool.
No, it's fantastic.
Question?
No, I think it's great that we, you got it right, Chief, the first time.
Yeah.
Part-time dispatcher's probably working full-time anyway, right?
Pretty much.
Anybody? Anybody?
No,
I got nothing.
I'm trying to track it down.
Fry? Bueller?
All right, hold on. The packet, my iPad went a little squirrely here. I ended up back on the first page. All right, we'll start with this one. I make a motion that the board, as outlined by Chief Murray, promote or appoint Heather Sherry to be the full-time record clerk starting July 1st, 2016.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? We had a, let me see. We need to put the step in, no, it's already in there. It's in the memo. Can you just add in the memo that was presented?
No, that's not the other memo.
Just because it lists the step and grade.
Where? For Heather?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying, there's three different things here. I read
Where
it,
is it
I just,
listed in?
because of her employment, which I do agree with.
Well, when she was appointed as the part-time, we had already set that one is where
Oh,
we set
that's
the
right,
grade.
okay.
Yeah, we're not changing the grade or the step for the full-time.
Never mind. All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Nobody. Congratulations,
Thank you.
I think.
Yeah, right.
And,
For Kaylee, it shows the step.
yeah, okay.
Let me find that one. If you find it first, you know, feel free.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, now you found it?
It's highlighted. No, go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Selectmen make Kaylee McCarthy a full-time public safety dispatcher, and that with this appointment to full-time, she be moved to a step 2, effective July 1st, 2016, as outlined in the memo from Chief Murray in the Board of Selectmen packet.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Congratulations.
It's a little.
I'd also like to recognize several members of my department are here in support, as well as Kelly's father and Heather's husband, Chris, who's also on our dispatch staff full-time.
Oh, it's great.
Great. Nice to have the support behind you, too.
Much better than commuting to Lynn, too, right? Congratulations, both of you.
Glad to have you. I mean, everybody says good things about you.
And I'm assuming it's
Great
made a
for
huge
us.
difference, having this position. Yeah,
Yeah.
figured it would, yeah.
And
Thank
good
you,
luck.
everybody.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
both of you.
Thank you.
He goes after the police.
Oh, no, that's older minutes, sorry.
Chief Pedrali.
Yeah, that was just for these.
Thursday.
How's everyone tonight?
Great. How are you?
Good.
Got a couple of reserve fund transfers.
was on winter and it was on off, so let's try that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was wondering why.
Yeah.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah. That should help, now that everybody's gone.
He's the intro.
Feel like the wicked witch.
So I have two reserve fund transfers.
Okay.
One for the ambulance enterprise fund, which there's a reserve fund within that budget of $10,000, and I'm asking for the whole $10,000 to be transferred over. I have some incoming bills and services line items that are going to be fairly substantial.
Okay.
The reason for the transfer of the services line item is all the unexpected repairs we had on the ambulance we traded in. We had about almost $8,000 worth of repairs on that truck this year. And I was looking at about another 10 if we were going to keep it.
So this is the one that's gone?
Yeah. Yeah, we did the minimum to get rid of it.
Sure, yeah, I understand.
So, do you want to do them separately?
Yes.
Yeah.
The other part of that is the supply line item. It's always been adequate this year. They've done some changes on the drugs that the guys can use and the way they have to use them. Mostly the epinephrine, they used to be able to mix the stuff and inject it, and evidently there was an issue in another part of the state. So they made the medics start using the EpiPens, which are extremely expensive. They're about $120 a pop. And we have to carry 4 in each vehicle, and they go out of date pretty quickly.
They do, yeah, we have them for Jack, and they expire quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not something you want to use just to get rid of it.
Yeah.
You know, but you have to have them, but we mandated to carry so many, you know, juniors and adults.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and the other thing is the Narcan.
Right.
We'll do a lot of Narcan.
Mm-hmm. Thank God.
Yeah,
Well,
it's not, yeah.
either way, I it both ways, I know what you're saying, but yeah.
So,
Right.
you know, if we don't use the whole 10,000, we're not gonna roll the money if we don't use it, it closes that committee account.
So we'll take the ambulance enterprise first. We have a motion to approve with that $10,000, the ambulance enterprise, account number 64220.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
This to the,
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
with the signature by the chair.
Yep.
Add to the motion with signature by the chair.
okay, the fire department reserve fund transfer is for year-end salaries. And I attached a spreadsheet to that, the reasons why, but the biggest driver of that was a long-term injury that used sick time last winter. And I had an on-the-job injury that we actually have insurance that covers it, but it doesn't cover the whole thing. So those are the two big drivers of it. The other thing is the amount of callback time. The last 2 hires that we've had live in town, even though we have had more calls, but it's just the fact that those guys are available to come to calls. It just has driven that callback line item up, which is a good thing because they're available to come to calls when we need them.
Mm-hmm.
But it costs more money. And, you know, didn't budget enough for that. You know, and the problem is you do your budget in December and you don't figure out how much money you used last year until June.
Right.
You know, so, you know, there's no way to,
No,
there's
you're right.
no way to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions?
That makes sense to me. That was the 16161.
Mm-hmm.
I make a motion that we approve a reserve fund transfer to the fire department for the sum of $16,161. Account number 0122051100 for the reasons explained by the chief.
Seconded. Oh, signature by the chair.
With signature by the chair, excuse me.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? None? Candace, you vote, yeah?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
thought I said it out loud, sorry.
How's the new ambulance?
The new ambulance is great.
Yeah,
There
good.
really is a big difference having a truck body instead of a van body. I wish we'd done it the last time.
Yeah, it looks good
It
too.
really
It's just-
wasn't, it wasn't available back then. You
Yeah.
had to get a bigger truck like a Navistar or something.
Mhm.
You just couldn't see someone with a bigger one, but now they have it in the
Yeah.
550s. It's great. Yeah, the guys
Good.
love it.
Good.
And it's been over a lot.
Yeah, you guys have been busy.
Good for you. I've been to
Cool.
3 fires in the last week. In Newbury Center.
Mutual aid or? Yeah.
Shirley Groton and Devin.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the Devon's one, but I saw this Shirley and the Groton one there, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we had a 4-hour track run fire.
Oh, that was over here, right, a few weeks ago?
Yeah. You know, when the front end of it all burns up, you can't get it back open.
Thanks, chief.
Thanks, Chief.
All right, thanks,
Alright.
chief. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Superintendent Wetzel.
Hey, Mark.
Thank you. I have 4 items tonight. Thank you for reading the dog park announcement. Meeting, that should be a fun meeting.
Are they bringing the dogs?
No dogs. Town administrator wouldn't let us bring our dog.
Excuse me.
The first item is the Complete Streets Prioritization Plan grant. As you know, I've done a number of presentations on Complete Streets. We submitted. There's 3 tiers in the program. The first is the Complete Streets policy, which was approved by the board and then scored by the state. We scored really high on.
Good.
And then that allows us to be eligible for Tier 2 funding, which is to do a prioritization plan, and it's a grant up to $50,000. Ours, when you added up all the numbers, turned out to be $49,758, and that's primarily to hire a consultant and we'll look at the whole town, the sidewalks, the roads, future subdivisions, and come up with a prioritization plan of where we need to improve our complete streets. And as part of that study, I'll form a work group which will include the DPW, the police, recreation, economic development, open space, and some residents. And we'll work with a consultant and prioritize the plan. And then once we submit the plan, we're eligible for grant funding. I think currently it's about $400,000, but the way the program was set up, it's up to $700,000 to do projects for complete streets. And we're fairly far along compared to a lot of other towns. So if we do this study, then we'll be in line to get some grant money for actually doing some of the implementation. So what we have is, I have 2 copies of a contract. It's the Mass DOT standard contract form that basically is what we have to sign to agree to accept the grant money in their terms of payment. And so that's for signature by the chair, and it has to be the signature, and then you have to handwrite your name and your title.
Okay. Questions? Comments? Motions?
Is this, will this encompass like looking into like whether we can use parking meters in certain spots? I mean, is that parking meters or stuff, stuff we talked about?
I have a different appropriation for that.
Yeah, I knew there was something,
What
yeah.
we'll look at it, things like, first of all, where do we have gaps in sidewalks, in pedestrian paths? Do we need to make them safer? Do we have ADA compliance with a lot of that? Are there bicycle routes that aren't safe? And actually, the chief's not here, but as you probably know, the fire chief and police chief both cycle a lot in town, so they'll be able to give us good input on those items as well as residents. And then we'll look at connections between, for instance, the train station and the businesses and the neighborhoods and future paths. I know that there's a group that's interested in how do we tie in the rail trail to other neighborhoods and the high school and build that into some of the proposed subdivisions. So those are the types of things we'll look at. It's going to be, some of it's going to be a no-brainer. Yeah, we've got to fix the sidewalks on Pleasant Street, which we are doing. But other things are going to be sort of out of the box. So
It's amazing how many people walk and run in this town year round. I was just thinking up in Central Avenue must have passed 15 people
That you could say
jogging.
hit.
What's that?
I thought you were gonna say you were hitting.
No.
They run real fast on Groton School Road because there's no sidewalk there.
Close to that curve.
Well, that's one of the things that's interesting with it also, is because two parts of 2A outside of the center of town are the state. And I'm trying to get them to put a sidewalk along Fitchburg Road,
The shop is there.
down to the shop and save, and they're like, oh, I don't know if we can do that. It looks like it's going to be a lot of work. Oh, there might be drainage problems.
Oh.
And so that's going to be, those are the types of things we'll address in the plan. So.
You mimicked them very well.
Quick comment, and I'm not sure if Mark mentioned this, but under the sort of purview and umbrella of the Devon's Open Space Committee, which has representation from Ayer and Shirley, they've been trying to get a group together to also look at connectivity amongst the communities. For example, at Burbeck Gate, the sidewalk that is on West Main ends and then it picks up again in the Shirley section.
Yeah.
And also the geometry of the intersection at Burbeck Gate is not very good for somebody trying to cross there. So that's one of the things, like just an example of how the towns can work together to get on the same page with the Complete Streets initiatives as well. And then if Mark didn't mention it, the Safe Routes to School program is another specific program that, through the developing the prioritization plan, we'll really be able to take advantage of some opportunities to look for possible funding there in the future too.
That's great. So we have to make a motion to accept the money?
You sign the contract.
Go ahead.
All right.
No, I was just holding these.
I make a motion to accept the.
No, right here.
What's that?
Don't look at it.
Oh, I was just reading.
You got it there?
Thing.
Okay.
Complete Streets grant for the sum of $49,758 to be used to hire a consultant to work with the town in the work group, as outlined by Superintendent Wetzel, with signature by the chairman.
Oh, yes, second.
Moved and seconded. Excuse me, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
You guys turned that around fast, actually. Good job.
The next item is, well, as you can see, we do have a lot of support in the community for this project, so I think it'll be a lot of fun and get a lot of support. The next item is construction inspection contract amendment for the Pleasant Street project. As you know, we had a CDBG funded grant to redo Pleasant Street from Main Street up to Groton Street, and we do need to have a so-called clerk of the works or construction inspector on the job. So we were trying to figure out how to do it in the most cost-effective manner. And I talked to GPR Engineering, and as you know, they're right here on Main Street on the corner of Main and Pleasant.
Yep.
And they said, oh, we could do it on a pretty cost-effective part-time manner. So we have a daily rate for 5 hours a day, and then an hourly rate if they don't need to spend 5 hours out there. So they have a contract, an amendment to their. We have an existing contract with them because they did the survey on the project. So this is an amendment to that contract. It's on a per diem or hourly basis, not to exceed $35,000. And that funding would come out of, we have a revolving fund for engineering inspection, and the funding would come out of that.
Am I up?
Can be.
All right. I make a motion to the, let me start that over. I make a motion for the hiring of GPR Engineering to provide engineering inspection for the Pleasant Street reconstruction project with the amendment not to exceed $35,000 and will be paid for from the DPW inspection revolving fund. The amendment is signatured by the chairman.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The next item is the sewer system connection fee, and I prepared a memo that we discussed at our water and sewer rate committee meeting yesterday, that gives a little more detail on this. As you may recall, at the April 6th water and sewer rate hearing, the rate committee proposed some increases in the fees for the water and sewer. So we have the rates which pay for your actual usage of water and sewer. How much are you, how much water are you using, and how much sewer are you flushing down the toilet or putting down the drain? And then the fees are for additional services. So, for instance, if you want your water shut off, you pay a fee because someone has to come out and do that. So it's specific. It's a specific service for that one customer. And so at the rate hearing, the proposed water fees were approved, but the selectmen had concerns that some of the sewer fees, primarily the sewer connection fee, didn't seem like it really covered the costs that it should. So so I was asked to relook at that. So I did a little more research and a lot more calculations. And so basically what the sewer connection fee is, the connection is kind of a misnomer because it's not really the cost to connect to the sewer. It's the cost that the existing ratepayers have been paying for a certain amount of excess capacity in the system. And so it's sort of a join the club. You need to pay the cost of what it really costs for us to have this capacity for future customers. So basically there's two components to the fee. One is the system capacity, which is fairly easy to calculate because we bought 800,000 gallons of capacity at Devon's when our plant was at full capacity. And so we know how much that cost, and we've been paying for it for 20 years. And you know how many houses or equivalent, I use the term equivalent residential units that 800,000 gallons of capacity can use. So that's a pretty easy number to calculate. And then we also have, in the sewers, there's excess capacity for houses. So because you don't put in one house and design the sewer for one house, you design the sewer for a number of houses. So there's additional capacity in that. So we calculate in what the additional capacity in the sewer pipes costs. And based on those calculations, I came up with a recommended connection fee of $4,800 per equivalent residential unit. Equivalent residential unit is just a measurement so that when Robert comes in and builds his one-bedroom house, he's not paying the same connection fee as someone who builds an 8-bedroom house, because obviously the 8-bedroom house is going to take up a lot more capacity in the sewer plant than the 1-bedroom house. So the equivalent residential unit that I used was based on the Title V wastewater flow calculations that we can use those to allocate to all different types of usages, and it's based on a 3-bedroom house.
Just so you guys know, I sent Mark and Robin, and I had some questions on this. And I guess I thought just a connection fee was just putting in a connection and that the sewer rates took care of everything else. That's what I thought.
Well, they do now, but they shouldn't. You know what I see what I mean? So the ratepayers shouldn't be paying for capacity that they're not using at Devon's. When someone comes in and uses up that capacity, that's who should.
So why are we raising it?
Because the current fee of $1,500 was set in 2003.
I'm sorry.
It's not a realistic fee.
So is this for new construction?
Yes.
And so how do we justify going up 3 times what it was?
Just to give you an example, the project I have in Westford, this is the lower septic system we just installed. $14,000.
Well, this is air.
No, I'm just saying, I'm giving you an example. The benefits of being in air and building is dramatic. So $14,000. The upper lot based on the topography and stuff, is a $32,000 septic system. Granted, it's a different town, but what I'm saying is, when you build an Ayer, I mean, $4,800 to have that all taken care of is a steal. We're the only community you can get tied into the septic and get the service you do for that. So, the problem is, I see what you're saying with the increase, but and that was barely paid for the labor and the guys.
You know, I should
And
point
you
out,
still
it's-
get the sewer rates to take care of that.
right, but your rates are going to have to go up every year, and we do have a lot of improvements in the infrastructure that we need to do on the sewer system and at the wastewater plant. And the users have been paying for that additional capacity of Devon's that they don't have a benefit from.
Okay, so I mean, somebody's gotta pay for it.
Right.
Whether the town, right.
Right.
How much money do you anticipate bringing in?
I haven't done a projection on that.
Penryville was capped, if I recall, at a ridiculously low
time it
rate.
was.
Yeah, the last phase of Pingree is not
Okay.
included. I think the Willows is capped. And, you know, there's a couple.
Pingree at current prices, they're no longer getting the
Right,
discount.
correct,
So,
correct.
yeah.
And then there are some other projects on the books right now with Nashua Street, Pleasant Street. There's some units proposed down on Littleton Road. I don't know how far along those are. There's houses here, houses there.
So does this become like a money-making thing for the town, or is it just, because, I mean, the
Well-
enterprise fund is set up so that it's self-sustaining,
It's-
and
right,
just,
Right, so what it will
not for
basically
profit.
do is it will offset your rate increases. Everyone's rate, if this money is going towards capacity improvements in the system, then the ratepayers aren't paying for that. The ratepayers are paying for the operation and maintenance of the system and some of the capital improvements. So like at the treatment plant, for instance, we've got $7 to $8 million worth of improvements coming up in the future, and that's going to affect everybody.
yeah, that's the price of doing business, I understand that. I just can't see going up 3 times on what,
Well, you know, I think at the rate meeting, I had recommended, I think it was $2,600.
$2,500, right.
2,500, and I was asked to relook at it.
I think it's
was too
dramatic.
low.
I think 2,500 is dramatically low. I'm just going on based on, you're looking to build in this town. You don't have to, I didn't mention the 14,000 didn't cover the engineer that had to design the system. Have the Board of Health come out,
it's
inspect
apples and
it.
oranges, though, Chris.
Well, it
It's,
isn't,
you
though,
know, you're
Gary,
talking
because
septic systems
if I-
against sewer connections.
But that's the luxury of living in this town, though. 4,800, you can't do that in any other community.
On the Groton line.
Regardless, you can't do it anywhere else. So I mean, it's not going to deter people. People aren't going to say, "I'm not going to build an Ayer because, oh my God, $4,800." I would have killed to pay that in a different community for a tie-in with no engineering.
I was just gonna say, I mean, he did come to us before, and with the recommendation of 2,500, we did send him back. We didn't approve it. We sent him back to recalculate it. He's done so. I, in no way, shape, or form, could ever repeat what he just said or what Chris said. But I know that the Water and Sewer Rate Committee, we met yesterday, and we all felt that the numbers were appropriate. And so now it's here. So it's, if you want to look at a jump, you could look at his original recommendation of 2,500 to what he's got to now.
It was last updated in 2003.
Right. And he went back and got the numbers per our request.
I'm not debating any of that.
And you're not, it's not like you're penalizing, I mean, I could see if we were raising the rates themselves. You're not penalizing the homeowner. I guess you could be, I guess, on the sale price, but,
I guess I, too, don't understand why we would set the water and the sewer rates and then come back to this after the rates are set for next year already. Is it apples and oranges? I'm just trying to understand.
yeah, I think it
this.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we specifically didn't approve that part.
we've always had fees for different
Yeah.
things. We have fees for, like I said, turning on and off services, for checking meters, for
Placing meters.
for final reads.
Okay. Thanks for clarification. Buddy.
Keep going.
Sure, you're on a roll.
I make a motion to, do I have to read the, so you want me to read the whole thing, wastewater collection system capacity?
No, just.
All right. I make a motion to increase the fees to, what was it? I'm sorry. Sewer connection fee to $4,800 as outlined by Superintendent Wenzel.
Second.
Could you add just for new construction?
Yeah, we just.
Do we have a
Well, it's for anyone connecting to the sewer, whether they're.
Any new, all right, yes, I'm sorry.
Any new sewer.
Yeah, any,
Do we have anything that's grandfathered in? Excuse me.
The only people that would be grandfathered in are people that have already applied for and paid for a connection.
haven't done.
So
Okay.
I'll give you an example though. I was doing some work in the town of Groton with their water connection fees. A developer came in and he prepaid for 30 connection fees before he even built one house because they knew they were going up.
Oh,
And then he went
okay.
bankrupt. But anyway.
The check clear.
Save some money on the insurance, I guess, huh? All right, we'll make that motion again.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I make a motion to increase the total proposed connection fee for new tie-ins to $4,800 as outlined by Superintendent Wenzel.
Second.
Moving in second, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I oppose.
The final item on my agenda is the water and sewer bill discount policy. I put a draft in your packet. We discussed it yesterday at the water and sewer rate committee meeting, and we made some modifications to it. So here's the revised policy recommended by the water and sewer rate committee. And I'll just briefly go over what the changes are. For the public's benefit, at town meeting, fall town meeting last year, it was voted to have a 10% discount for senior citizens on the water and sewer bill. And so we put together some eligibility requirements. The eligibility requirement would be it's available on your quarterly bill for the first tier of the billing, which is 3,000 cubic feet. Over 3,000 cubic feet, or the irrigation meter would not be eligible. So if you can water your lawn, you shouldn't expect to get a discount on it. You must be 65 years of age or older. You must be the owner of the property. You must occupy the property as your principal place of residence. The property must have a separate water meter. The property must be classified as a single-family dwelling or condominium. The adjusted gross income must not exceed $50,000. That was one of the recommendations of the committee. And all town accounts, including taxes, must be current. Then we also added that to apply for it, applications would be accepted from September 1 through September 15, and the discount will become effective on October 1st, and they must be renewed on an annual basis. And so then we have a copy of the proposed application form, which is, again, primarily the same form that was in your packet. I just added the dates of when the applications were accepted, and I added that they must provide proof of total household adjusted gross income does not exceed $50,000.
So we're going to stick with 10? I know that was presented.
Well,
I
it
know
was
we talked-
originally put on the, I'm sorry.
Good.
It was originally presented on the petition that was brought forward to the fall town meeting with like 200 signatures on it as a 20%.
Oh, was it 20%?
And town meeting amended it to 10%.
Okay.
It was just a recommendation.
Yeah, I mean,
And just to give you a little background, before town meeting, I had looked at some of the analysis, and this was pretty rough, but I calculated there were 450 senior households of people over 65. I don't think you were on there yet.
Close, not quite though.
Based on
I
the
hope to
total,
be.
the
I hope to
total,
be.
by September.
based on the total billing for 2014, this total billing to the seniors was between $200,000 and $250,000 for the year. So a 20% discount was between $40,000 and $50,000. So if we're now at 10%, then it's half that amount. So it's between $20,000 and $25,000. That's assuming everybody applies for it.
Which they won't.
And you know, and I didn't look at those other requirements like the water usage and the irrigation meters, because it was just too time consuming to get through that. But that gives you kind of a general idea of it's probably going to end up costing around, I would guess, $10,000 to $15,000.
Which just, I mean, not that I'm disagreeing with it, but it's just passed on to everybody else who.
But it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. Everyone always assumes that just because it's a discount that we're going to raise the rates on everybody else. If you're pulling in, out of all the rates, we'll say, I'm just going to pull numbers out for easy math. You're pulling out 60 cents so that you're able to put into the enterprise fund. Then, okay, you might be just pulling in 50 cents to put into the enterprise fund. You're still putting the money into the fund. You might be slowing the growth.
I know.
And we raise the rates every year anyway.
Well, sewer is definitely, you know, from capital is an issue.
Right,
I
but
mean-
sewer's getting up there. Yeah, sewer is getting higher. I don't know what the current rate is.
And that's before the
Yeah.
upgrades that are going to be required at some point. So.
But I mean, out of those senior citizens, out of the 65 years of age of older, I mean, I can think of at least 10 that will not qualify. And that's just 10 off the top of my head that will not qualify. And we also made the application window, to some may seem a little bit short, but that's also because we didn't want anyone dragging their feet and coming in last minute, and then poor Pam's trying to enter everything in.
Well, there's
So
another thing.
it's a if you want it, you got to come in and do it, and then that gives Pam the time to be able to enter it into the system.
Well, here's my businessman hat. Now Pam is taken on, I know she does this, but this is another task that needs to be followed, accounted for. The year runs up, you haven't reapplied, you gotta go back in the system. I mean, it seems like there's more man hours here to.
The software will have a flag, and you can flag it so that it's annual and whatnot.
And that's
So,
one
yeah.
of the reasons why we didn't pick fiscal year or calendar year, because those are busiest times. So it'll be a little bit of a leeway to get it in the system.
The software can
Yeah,
automatically take care of it.
it might take a little, we have to make a couple phone calls to get it set up, but you can put it in.
Pam felt pretty confident yesterday as to that this.
Oh,
is
I have
a
no
good,
doubt.
No, I'm letting you know
Yeah.
that as far as the dates that was recommended and all that.
And I would think that we may come back a year from now and say, we need to make some changes. And because it's something new, and we'll get more feedback once the people start putting it in, start figuring out what we can and can't do.
10 seemed high to me, I'm sorry. I don't know, it just seems like a high number, but okay. Everybody's good with it. You're on the committee, so I'll defer to you.
300 times didn't seem high to you?
Not for that. Not for what they're selling the houses for.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the senior citizen water and sewer bill discount policy as outlined by Superintendent Wetzel and presented tonight, to be with the application being accepted from September 1st through September 15th, the discount to become effective on October 1st. What was that?
The only one that heard that?
No, I heard
Like
it.
a
That sounded like a
little bee or something.
train whistle.
Yeah.
Should we put some type of amendment in there, just that this may be revisited and the rate may change based on how it works?
I
In the
think
future?
that, well,
I mean, I don't want.
I don't see how if we need to, because it does say it's gonna be renewed on an annual basis. Everybody knows that the water and sewer rate committee and everything, and we have a public hearing all the time, so
Mhm.
I think that it would work with
Just don't
within the
bounce.
system. It would work right in within the system as far as when we have the public hearings and whatnot.
I was thinking the same thing, that to do it for a year.
Yeah, that was my only thing. I just don't want to be bound to it. Well, you've agreed to 10%, and then Mark says, well, you know, it's not working out this way or that way. I mean, because like you said, it's a learning curve, I'm sure.
Well, we'll have some history on it when we do
Mhm.
our rate hearing for next year, so we'll know what impact it has on the rates and what, and.
To be revisited at next year's rate committee?
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's already within the system, because the water and sewer rate committee will already be discussing it, and when they come forward for the public hearing, it'll already be incorporated into that conversation. So I mean, you can put it into the motion, but I don't think you need to put it in the motion, because it's already within the works of what the water and sewer rate committee do before they come to us.
All right. No, I was just throwing it out there because it is a new policy, and we are setting different numbers for different people. But because if 10% doesn't work and we can only do 5%, that's
Right.
You know, I want people to be aware of that's a possibility. That's all.
Right.
Policies change. Everybody knows policies
I
change.
I agree with you, and it's easy said than done. But when someone's been paying 10% less, and you tell them they're paying 5 in a year, they might.
We might, you know, a lot of those people are going to apply because,
Mhm.
let's be honest, they're not even going to read the application, and then they're going to be like, well, why don't I get approved? And it's like, you got to read the application. So there's going to be crime no matter what.
I kind of agree with what you're saying about revisiting it, but that's the motion, if you want to second it.
I'm just going to throw in there, if you don't mind, just make an amendment to the motion.
If she accepts it, sure.
Yeah, you can say no. On top of Janet's amendment to Janet's motion, that the 10% discount be looked at the rate committee, and I know it is, but I'm just throwing it in there for language to see how it's working and if it's working for the town at next year's committee meetings.
It was a really lamely said motion, but seconded.
You want me to
It was just, no, it was just, I don't know, it just came out, but I seconded it.
Okay.
No, so.
Thank you.
Just the way it came out of your mouth, I'm like, what is that?
So you accept his amendment?
I'm accepting his amendment.
You second that?
Second.
Moved and second, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks,
Mark,
Mike.
do you need these, or?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Have a good night.
Night, Mark.
Oh, you want
Roberts.
Robert, you want to try that thermostat again now that this thing's on? It came on.
Mr. Chairman, give me 1 second on the climate control. Get turned on.
Upgraded system, you still gotta go put ice on the fan. Back room.
Mark, any idea when they're doing Park Street?
Depends on what you consider doing first.
What they doing it?
No, the town, the
The
state.
Mass DOT is probably not doing their section, but the contractor's not done. He didn't do it the way he was supposed to, so he
Okay.
I wondered
ratted
that,
him out
actually.
to Mass DOT.
It was supposed to be an overlay, right? Of that?
Well, no, he's supposed to go from the edge of the road.
Yeah.
On Mass DOT section, he's supposed to go from the edge of the road to 1 foot beyond the trench.
Yeah.
Oh,
And so
No,
he's
he
gonna
didn't
come
do
back
that.
He
and
went
do
the
that.
trench.
Yeah.
And I don't have a date for when they're doing our part of Park Street and Grant School Road, but it should be fairly soon.
Okay.
And that, they're actually using our contractor,
Albert.
TJ Albert.
Okay. All right, good, thanks.
Good.
All right, Robert.
Mr. Chairman,
You're up.
members of the board, just a couple of things under the administrative update to highlight. There was the public hearing last week in Littleton regarding the Willow Road intersection improvement project. Granted, it's in the town of Littleton, but it does impact both towns. So Mass DOT will be moving forward with the interim signalization as planned for this summer, and that engineering will then be translated towards the permanent signalization in the long term. So it's pretty much what the board has been aware of, but they had the public hearing last week. At the end of May, we had our first public kickoff meeting of the master plan committee up at the high school. It was a very well attended meeting by the public, some new faces there, which is always very exciting, and a lot of energy and ideas at that meeting. So we'll continue to move forward with that process. The master plan committee continues to meet on the fourth Tuesday of each month here at 6 p.m. And everybody's welcome, but we'll be looking at doing more of these type of outreach meetings and events moving forward. In terms of the administration, we've been largely focused on closing out FY16 and getting ready for FY17 from an administrative and budgetary perspective. And that then rolls into the first item under my report, which is the Depot Square update, which also, since the board last met, has been a considerable focus of our time and energy as the board. But for the public's benefit, I know many are aware, as of approximately 2 p.m. last Thursday, which is June 2nd, the town officially and legally owns the Depot Square access property and the Advocates building. Both have been added to the town's insurance. I have scheduled a site visit of the Advocates building this Thursday with the building commissioner, the fire chief, economic development, to sort of assess the building in terms of the systems, the structure, and so forth. There's some additional information requested by the town's insurer. Plus, we want to, now that we legally own the building, assess the overall structure, which leads to sort of another issue which we'll discuss maybe on the 21st or as we get more information. In the event that there may need to be certain compliance or improvement issues to the building, the board will have to consider and discuss how we will achieve that or fund that, in that there was no specific appropriation in the FY17 budget for the Advocates building. But we're not there yet, one step at a time. Other progress with respect to the overall project, MART has commenced with the 21E, the environmental consultant for the properties to be acquired on the Park Street side of the project. 21Es are required on the acquisition of those parcels. There appears to be no issues at this time. That's moving forward. The general appraisals for the rest of the property acquisition, and just to emphasize for the public's benefit, these property acquisitions are within the FTA grant. This is not additional costs to the town. This is what was originally planned in the project. Those appraisals are underway. MART has issued the request for proposals to get a design engineer firm on, so we can begin the conceptual and the public input process of the whole design as to what this whole project is going to look like.
So that the 20 feet in front of the building, it won't be implemented until that's done? Will it be delineated at all before that point? Do you know?
Yeah, the preliminary intent, and we will discuss this publicly with the board, is to demarcate the town's property from the private property of butters. Now,
I have one question for you. Have we changed the locks and
that's underway as we speak.
And taken any fence that may be on our property and thrown it back on the property that's not ours?
So to Selectmen Hillman,
Be willing to help.
But yes, so in discussing with Mart, at least initially, to the question is, it's been advised that we clearly delineate the property, which we will do in a professional and an aesthetically positive looking way. It'll probably be an interim measure as opposed to the permanent scope of the project, which will get the public input and the board and everyone to weigh in what it looks like to delineate that. So we are going to look at that issue of the fence there as well. I have also met I have also met with both tenants in the Advocates building. As the board's aware, there are two tenants. One is the Advocates drug program, and the other one is a small commercial fitness center. I've had preliminary meetings with both of them. Town council is in the process, I'm in the process of town council of drafting up lease agreements, because they are our tenants until we figure out the overall plan of the Advocates building. So we want to have leases in place, and starting with the July rents will come to the town for both of those tenants. Additionally, yesterday in Boston, I had a positive meeting with the DCR, the Department of Conservation, Recreation, and DCAM, which is the Division of Capital Asset Management, on the legal transfer of the Park Street. The rail trail lot is legally under DCR's jurisdiction, and we are going to transfer that to the town of Ayer. It was a positive meeting. Again, this is more of crossing all the T's, dotting all of the I's. So that process is also underway. And Mart was present. And the plan is, and this has been the plan when we met with them 3 years ago before this issue had raised itself, which is now resolved, is that there will be, the project includes 20 dedicated parking spots for the rail trail users during the week. In the evenings, as well as the weekends and the holidays, at least for now, the intent is that it's open for anybody to use. But during the week, when the biggest flow of commuters and so forth is still to have ample dedicated access to the rail trail. And that's been factored in the project all along. I also have been in consultation with the MBTA regarding, now that the transfer has occurred, and they are working with us, obviously, to release the covenant restrictions on the Advocates in the Depot Square property now that it belongs to the town of Ayer.
Not the whole Depot Square property.
No. And to be clear, in speaking to Mr. Boyle,
Okay.
a lawsuit remains. That was filed by the private property owner. That hasn't been withdrawn. That's between the Worthingdale and the MBTA. The MBTA is not releasing anything except for the covenants on the town, what is now the town-owned piece. Additionally, we're working with them on some of the easement issues and so forth that the board had asked be conveyed to the town. Lastly, also in speaking with Mr. Boyle at the MBTA has submitted its master capital plan for FY17, which includes preliminary funding for the analysis for all non-handicapped accessible platforms on the Fitchburg line, including Ayer. And I think it's important, as I know the board knows, that we continue to stress the importance of that. Our project sets the stage for the handicapped accessible platform. I should also just add to that, I did personally see Congresswoman Tsongas last Friday. They had a dedication of the Bill Ash Oxbow access up at the river, and she was very pleased to hear that it was moving forward. And I had stressed to her that, and this came out loud and clear not only from this board all along, but also at town meeting, the importance of that platform. We all know that there's a process to that platform. There's a multi-million-dollar price tag to that platform, but we need to continue to advocate loudly and clearly for that platform, which I know the board knows. So all in all, things are knock on Formica, as they say. Everything is going as planned. So we'll continue to update the board as we move forward. I think on the 21st, when the board next meets, or before then, we'll have a better idea about the building as far as what the whole thing involves.
Amazing we got to this point.
Finally.
I know.
So the next.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you. I'm so pleased to see this moving forward finally, and as someone who's been working on it for the 9 years since the charrette happened, it's just really great that 9 years later we're finally taking this step and getting ready to hire a design consultant to work on this project. But I did want to ask about the town's ability to have input in the RFP development process and the selection of the designer, because I think this is really key for us to see the outcomes that we're interested in seeing happen here. And I'd really like to advocate for like ATSAC or public involvement in everything from cradle to grave going here on out, that, you know, getting the right designer on board, making sure that the scope of work is complete and includes the studies and things like that, that the town will be interested in seeing happen and influencing the design that comes out of it. So I'm wondering if you can respond to that, and I kind of have a little list of things that I think that we should have public involvement in, and, you know, most likely it would be, you know, appropriate for it to be the outside committee that's already been established.
Thank you, and through the chair, I mean, I would defer to the Board of Selectmen as to how you would proceed. I mean, we have maintained, and I've maintained all along, because that is part of the process, that the public, you know, be involved, which they will be involved, and that there be input.
There's a lot of questions out there, and once Mark gets on board and starts to do their work with the design and engineering and stuff, I think then we can have a better idea of what, like I have a concern about the traffic. And that's,
Right.
you know, that should be incorporated in there. But these are questions that we'll have to have for Mark.
Right, but if they release an RFP, that gets ahead of us having input in the process. So we need to be involved in developing the RFP to hire the designer and the scope of work that's in their contract, so that we can have some control over the studies that are done and the information that's going to influence the design.
So how do you differentiate what your design is as opposed to what mine is?
Public process.
Well,
I think.
I guess.
Yeah, and that we need to talk to Mark before they release these requests for services.
I mean, because I probably agree with everything that Beth was looking for this, but aren't we kind of isn't that somewhat the board's job to, I mean, Mart's going to hire, they're going to put it out for bid. I mean, if we get an architect that comes in, a firm that's $80,000, and we like the guy that's $150,000, I mean, it's a public process. If we start vetting everybody through the committee, then through Mart, are we going to delay this process another 2 years because?
I think it's a sort of a partnership. So the MART town representative, ATSAC representative could all be at the table reviewing the responses, and, well, first developing the scope of work and the RFP, and then sitting together and reviewing the responses. And
That's more our purview.
Yeah.
And I understand the input being there. Kat?
I wanted to address further what Beth was saying, the request for proposal aspect of this. If we're not there saying the town is looking for these things, MART is allowed to define in the request for proposals what they think this project should look like. As long as we're not involved in that process, what goes out is what's going to be bid on. And if we're not saying, so they might put together a proposal that says we need a surface parking lot in this area, and the town is saying, but we also need you to be looking at the design across the street. Well, if it comes back that whatever the design for the RFP that we didn't have input in comes back and it's not anything we can live with, then it sort of upends the whole process, or we end up with something that the town doesn't want.
Well, we're in control of it, though. It's our
Yeah, we're in
property.
control of it.
So your point is well taken, and I agree. But I mean, I think that would be a meeting that we would have with ATSAC or wherever before. I mean, MART is kind of under the guidelines of, we're pretty much steering the ship when it comes to MART in terms of what's going in there and how we want it. And
Right, but I do understand, through the chair, I understand Ms. Sudomeyer, Ms. O'Connor's point, and we've talked about this over multiple years about what the public input in the process, and as far as what things we want or don't want in the overall project. So, I mean,
Can you find out from Mark if, as far as the RFP is concerned?
yeah, I just to be clear on the RFP, yes, I think that maybe we should have Mark come here and and I think we need to figure out in terms of ADSAC or what have you, there is expertise there and so forth. How do we structure this moving forward?
Right.
because there is also, I understand the point that's being made as far as on some of the, if you will, the technical, let's call them the technical details, and then there's also the public process with, meetings here and so forth. But I know there's concerns about certain aspects of the project.
By all of us.
By everybody,
Yeah,
agreed.
we're not the cement, we're not putting Boston City Hall
Taj
over there.
Mahal.
Right.
We want something
Right.
aesthetically pleasing,
And as I
landscapes.
And as I
safe.
explained to them, as you know, for example, Superintendent Wessel, back in the early winter, we did the whole, or was it last fall? It's been a while. The whole master plan look at like the whole main street, the streetscape improvement. And one of the big question marks that we had at the time, still have, is that intersection of Park and Main in this project and so forth. And we definitely need to make sure these things, I agree with both Kathleen and Beth right from the beginning, we want to make sure that we have all of these things teed up in people's concerns. Everything from the aesthetics, which I've heard from many, which are very important, the aesthetics,
Absolutely.
to the functionality, to aspects of complete streets and so forth.
It has to be done 100% right. I mean,
Right.
I agree with the committee.
And
I just don't know about the process in terms of maybe we sit down as a group with that sec, and then we convey.
Yeah.
I mean, we can discuss it, but I agree.
We need to get with mine and get a process in place.
Agree.
Yeah.
I agree that with the ADSAC reps, board reps, myself, Art, the superintendent, what we need to organize this.
Because there has to be, it's subtle things like if the
Agreed.
DPW is plowing it,
Right.
Mark is going to have input on, well, it needs to be this wide. Well, we
Right.
can't put a fence there. We can't put trees there. It's stuff like that that
Right.
really makes a big difference
Right.
for all of us.
And
So you might need to design a working group meeting.
right. So now we're at that point.
Yeah.
There's been so many moving parts at a rapid pace, and it's not meant as an excuse, but the actions of town meeting, which were transformative, in my opinion, in a positive way, from May 9th, and this
Yeah.
board knows because you've been involved to get to this point.
Every
Now
day.
we really need to shift to the project.
So I guess I get my disagreement wasn't with your idea; it was with how the process
Right.
of hiring an engineer. But your
Right.
ideas, and then we hire the engineer and say, "This is what you are hired to do. Show us." So I guess we're on the same page. I just
Right.
a little different approach to it. That's all.
All right, so,
Mr. Chairman, you had mentioned the traffic studies, which I think will be very important for consideration, but also to think about actually evaluating parking on a whole downtown.
Well, we've discussed that.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then I don't know if there's any possibility of the hybrid lot and Central Lab parking to be pursued. And it might be that a parking study, occurs, and then there is consideration of additional municipal parking or something like that in the future. So just to keep it clear, that is the outcome of the charrette years ago in '07. I understand there's limitations in terms of the budget, but it is something to still.
I don't think there is any money in that budget to do another lot.
no. In the FTA project budget, no.
Right.
Or ours for that matter.
Right. Good.
So just real quick, Mr. Chair, to those points. As mentioned, and that's why I think, we definitely need, it's now time for this work group, because there's a lot of moving pieces. In addition to this, as the board knows, board had put forth, on the recommendation of the superintendent, town meeting approved this $15,000 on the comprehensive parking study. We have this project underway. There is no question that when the construction does begin, we need to develop a plan, because it will impact parking at the lot during the construction. Hence, the original proposal of the hybrid lot, which unfortunately was several years ago, the concept makes a lot of sense. But as you mentioned, the challenge is the financial capacity to acquire such. So we need to look at
Acquire and develop it.
Right, but there is no question that Mark has said that when the actual construction begins on Park Street, it's going to impact that lot. So what's the plan? And Mark will work with us on that, but we need to have everybody, the fire chief, police chief.
They have that.
Yeah.
I remember Mo talking about using resources in town for parking
Yeah.
in the interim.
Right.
Like, say, St. Mary's Church. parking lot.
What about the MBTA over, don't they own that property over on Bly Street? Is that something, I mean, they do so much for us already, so I didn't know.
And
if
they would pay to
you
use it.
throwing that out for us. But, I mean, you know, in the interim, just an idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we can
Yes.
see what the timeline is, their anticipated timeline for an RFP, putting it together and getting it out.
Yes, and if I could, just so we're
Yeah.
clear, so we all agree that
Mhm.
we need to develop this whole working process.
Absolutely.
On that. And
Mhm.
points well taken. And in the interim, through the chair, if you could also send to me, you said you have some list, just preliminary, whether it's through AdSac or through you, just to get those going. But we need to get this whole thing defined.
Because you're right, if it's not planned right, you could have downtown filled at 6:30 in the morning, the entire day, with cars parked.
Right.
And the businesses, you want to stop and get a coffee or dry cleaning or whatever, I'm sorry,
Right,
there's no parking
right.
for 6 months.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Sounds like a good
Yeah.
plan.
All right. Good unexpected discussion on
Yeah,
that. So,
absolutely.
good. All right. So then the next item, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, is, as the board is aware, the town received a formal notice from the developer of the Nashua Street extension. And the notice, which is in your packet dated May 24th, is the developer's intent to convert to residential use under Mass General Law, Chapter 61, and you have a map provided of the Nashua Street Extension project to convert it to residential use. And with that notice comes potentially triggers a very rapid clock in terms of the town's decision whether to execute its right of first refusal. And town council, I just heard back from them right before this meeting. I had sent the notice to town council to ask them if the notice was legally sufficient in their opinion. And their opinion, and I can provide this to the board, I just received it. In their opinion, the notice, and there was some questions on some of the parcels that I worked with assessors on to clarify, and with that information, according town council's opinion, is that the notice is a legal notice to convert. The significance of that is then it was received in hand on May 24th, so that clock has already run some, I'm just saying. One of the things in terms of the town's decision to execute its right of first refusal, one of the first pieces of information is an issue of an appraisal. Because if the town is to acquire, and I'm talking of acquiring it under 61 just as a straight acquisition, we would need to do an appraisal of this property to ascertain a value. And then, with that information, meaning you'd have the appraisal information and so forth, the administration would also do an interdepartmental review as to all departments to weigh in on the issues and/or value of the property to the town. And I am in no means an open space or conservation or habitat expert. We have a lot of those folks on various committees in the town and as residents and so forth. I know, Mr. Chair, there are some here tonight that are very interested in this. And so with the receipt of that notice, the ball is now in the town's court, if you will, as to if we were going to exercise that right of first refusal. We would need to do an appraisal, which, again, there is not a specific appropriation for the appraisal. So I hate to keep, if it's the intent of the board, probably the UDAG again. The appraisal is probably $3,000 to $5,000 conservatively, as far as to assess that. But it points final point, because I know others want to weigh in, and I think there's a letter as well that's going to be submitted. This does point not the importance of the Nashua Street extension issue, but it does, the board has put forth a policy, which I also put in the packet back on July 14th, right, which largely mirrors the Mass General Law. It points to a larger issue of land acquisition for the town. The town has acquired the land for the parking project at no small fund, $560,000. There are other lands issues, we've talked about this repeatedly, that the town is at 9.5 square miles, is rapidly approaching build out as far as the remaining lands that may have conservation value, open space value, habitat value, linkages value, and so forth, that may very well be in the town's and overall just general interest to protect or preserve. We need an overall strategy to look at that, but also the thing is the financial capacity or means to acquire these properties, because this is one of many. I'm not weighing judgment either way of rapidly coming down the line. Is what is our capacity to acquire? I mean, there is the CPC funding, but that's a small amount of money in terms of the issue of overall land acquisition. The UDAG, especially with this project, has reached an amount that well is.
We need to lay off the UDAG for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but so this points to, we have an immediate issue, which is the Nashua Street extension, and then we have a very near future of other properties that could potentially, not just 61 properties to be converted, but they may not be deemed as 61, but other undeveloped lands. So that's to conclude that notice, in the opinion of town council, is legally sufficient. The clock then activated on the 24th of May for the 30-day. In terms of the process, we would need to do an appraisal and then also take input as interdepartmental input on the parcel or on the land, and finally then a public hearing, which this is not, just in public disclosures. We know it's not a public hearing, it's a discussion on this, but the public hearing and then the board's decision to whether or not to ultimately the board makes the decision whether or not to execute the right of first refusal.
Yeah. I think it's important that we get as much information as possible. Janice, you got anything on that?
Well, what I was gonna say is that because the clock is ticking, and with an appraisal and getting the department heads involved and everything, and really, I don't know exactly what date our next meeting is, but when you look at the calendar, it'd be about the time we'd have to do a public hearing. And can that all get done so that all that information would be available in time to beat the clock?
Right.
Because I agree, I think we do need the information. I'm just hoping that we can get it all in time.
Is it based on, I'm sorry, would the appraisal be based on a lot or just the land itself? Like what it could be sold for at regular sale? You know what I mean? Like.
Well, if I understand the process, it's we get an appraisal, they get an appraisal.
But my point is, like, are we getting an appraisal on 9 building lots? Or are we getting an appraisal on how many acres it is? Because there's certainly different.
The whole project.
Yeah, okay.
Can I just
Looking
weigh in?
all over $1 million.
Go ahead.
There is an MLS listing that came out 2 weeks ago for $750,000. And that's based on probably what the seller wants to get for it. And that by no means is an accurate appraised value. That's just what the seller wants to
Marketing.
It's marketing.
Truthfully, in my opinion, that seems cheap. I mean, based on 10 building lots or 8 building lots.
Well, based on the amount of, the sale being listed as 750,000, and it probably is higher than the appraisal value, because everyone does that. You're looking at possibly 650,000 to 700,000. Because everyone always sells for higher than what their appraisal.
John has his hand up.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. The MLS listing does not describe the whole lot and does not include any kind of plot plans. It describes portions of it.
Portions.
It's all in prose, so I would
Yeah.
look at it, but I would take it with a grain of salt as well.
Yeah.
It just gives us a general feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My general feel is that, let's just say which is low, $100,000 a lot. You're at $800,000 right there.
Yeah.
And lots are going for a lot more than that. So just throwing that out there.
Jeff, if you had discussion of the planning board,
Yeah.
formally,
To be honest with you, Mr. Chair, I'm a little under the weather today, so I'm not going to respond to that. It's okay.
not a problem.
Yeah, had a tough day today.
Okay,
Thanks.
I feel for you, Bonnie. Good.
Just to clarify a point on the timings of Ms. Livingston, I wasn't sure if you were thinking that everything had to happen within the 30-day period. The 30-day period is for the appraisal to take place. And then there's
Thank you.
120 days under which we would need to come to the decision about an agreement with the seller. So
I did think there was something confusing in the
Yeah.
packet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good
So
point.
30 days is for
Apologies.
the appraisal, 120 days to complete the process. If they actually contest the appraised value and hire their own appraiser, then there could be a third appraisal.
Right.
And then if that happens, then after the third appraisal, then the 120-day
It's
clock
the-
starts again, I
Right.
believe. So
Right.
it's
That's
kind
the way I
of a
read
little
it.
bit of a moving deadline. But if I may, I do have letters from the Open Space and Recreation Plan Committee that I'd like to share with the members. And we did have a meeting last week, pass those around, thank you, and we're able to discuss this and are very interested in.
Yeah, if you want to sit down up here, it's fine.
Thank you. You definitely want to encourage the committee to pursue the appraisal and the consideration of, fully reviewing the assets that lie within this property and consider moving forward with acquisition. It's, as Robert describes, it's really a difficult time to look in the crystal ball and estimate what kind of opportunities there will be in the future. But with the limited resources that we have and the real desire, we're hearing such an incredible desire from the public through our planning efforts and the development of our recent draft open space and recreation plan, that there's a lot of interest in more open space and recreation parcels, more connectivity between existing parcels and the rail trail, for example. And this parcel in particular really is conveniently located to the schools as well as the downtown core and the rail trail. And we also need to consider that if the town acquires the property, there's a possibility that we could do something with it. It doesn't have to become, and remain just a forest. So, another idea that's been floated is the idea of a community center and something, for the youth and for the seniors to really enjoy. So here we have a parcel of land that's really within our downtown core area, walking distance to downtown businesses, walking distance to the most densely residential area in town. And so when we think about, putting one of these key community resources somewhere, it's really kind of an ideal open space to consider for something like that, in addition to the real habitat and conservation value potential therein.
Obviously, a host agreement is something too. We don't necessarily have to purchase the entire parcel either, if that got that far. This a similar situation in Littleton where they entered into an agreement just because it was far beyond the means of the town to purchase the property on 2A. So I don't know if that's been approached with the developer in any way.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just curious if that's been talked about or...
We haven't, and I've been trying to get more information on what happened with the Littleton agreement, but it was, I believe, the Board of Selectmen and the developer working together
Yes.
to make
Correct.
that arrangement happen. But I would certainly be interested in our board being involved in those sorts of conversations as well. And the idea of possibly developing part of it and preserving part of it, as you said, is something that we could consider given the constraints on our resources. The other thing is that there are some land trusts, like large land trusts, like the Trust for Public Land, that can get involved as an interim funding mechanism or providing a loan for the town in order to make an acquisition like this. And we can also bond on our future CPA allocations. So, we take town meeting vote to ever put CPA funds towards a project like this, but it's a way of kind of, not having to use up the whole kitty right now, but bonding towards future allocations of the CPA. So there's really a variety of strategies that can be employed, and I think that right now we just want to move forward with being able to evaluate the options, and I'll still be putting out feelers as well for partners and possible funding opportunities. We don't have a current open space and recreation plan that's been approved by the Conservation Services at Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs. We're getting close to submitting our draft, so we aren't eligible for state funding for these kinds of grants yet, but in the near future we hope that we will be.
Do we know how many parcels are in 61A in town at all now?
Oh, town-wide?
Yeah.
I'm
sorry to put you on the spot. I just didn't know
Yeah.
if that number. I guess my point
I can
is,
get that information.
Where does it? Where does
No,
it?
she has the
Or
information.
Yeah,
Miss
Oh, you do have it. Good.
This is what's in the draft plan, I believe. I apologize, there's coffee stains on the side.
We'll let it slide.
Yeah.
So these are all the ones in 61 now. Yeah, Janice, you want to
Some
copy
of my
some?
notes on it, so it's a
Yeah.
little different from theirs.
Okay.
So.
As of July 15th, so there may have been some minor adjustments.
I guess the reason I ask is when does it stop? I guess. Do you know what I mean? What if another parcel becomes available? In Littleton, from my view, there was two dueling parcels that came up at the same time, and it was played very smart by one developer, which was the Durkee Tree Farm over by the MBTA station. They played it under the radar, as Mr. Field was very publicly going with the town. The town couldn't obviously do both. The Durkee Tree Farm slid under it, quietly, got passed, and now there's going to be 50 houses up there. So I guess just because this is a focus of, abutters and stuff, I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying, we have to be careful because you can open a whole can of worms too, with something like this. And then, in my opinion, in Littleton, the Durkee Tree Farm would have been the parcel to buy. It's a beautiful little farmhouse that's going to be torn down in the middle of nowhere. But that slid right under the radar and got approved with really nobody knowing.
Some of our high priority conservation lands in town are actually of interest to the state and other nonprofit land trusts. So, I've been in touch with DCR about this one because of its proximity to the rail trail. But, so there are other interests involved as well.
But it's not conservation land. This is not wetlands.
There are wetlands on the
Wetlands.
site, yeah, but, and it is forested and has been enrolled in Chapter 61 for the last almost 10 years. But it doesn't have rare species habitat. It's not one of the real pristine, high priority habitat valued, or ecologically valued parcels, but there certainly are other interests.
I think we should thoroughly investigate this. And, I think it can't hurt to
We have to do the appraisal.
to do the right of first refusal and go with an appraisal anyway.
I agree.
I agree.
Want a motion for that?
Yeah.
I would, Mr. Chair, a motion to authorize the appraisal of the Nashua Street Extension property for the purposes of the right of first refusal, not to exceed,
5,000? No?
let's say, not to exceed $5,000 to be funded through UDAG, unrestricted.
We lasted 10 minutes.
Sorry, not to exceed $5,000 with funding to be replaced at a future town meeting.
So moved.
Thank you. Second.
And do we have any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
To start.
Isn't it 100-foot frontage in there?
Yes.
The next item, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, the underground fuel tank has been removed from the old fire station property, and pleased to report that with that removal, there was no contamination, which is good news. So the tank has been removed, has been remediated. I would just like to publicly thank Chief Pedrazi for his efforts in getting this tank out. I appreciate it, as I know the board and the town does. So with the removal of the tank around the same time, I asked the departments to internally look at this building for municipal purposes, specifically the fire chief, the building commissioner, other departments, and so forth, because town meeting has authorized the disposition of the property by the Board of Selectmen.
Mm-hmm.
And we did do a good faith initial RFP. It didn't pan out. The tank has been removed. So the board, the town respectfully still has to go through the process to dispose of it. In terms of municipal use, the costs involved to not only bring it up to code, but to continue to maintain it as a storage annex and so forth, in talking to the various departments, facilities, building commissioner and so forth, fire chief, is not in the best interest of the town as a municipal structure without considerable investment to the town in ongoing costs. In talking with Alan about it, we are recommending that, because it still has to go through the, when I say the disposition process, through the RFP process, is that we reissue the RFP. The tank is removed. The original
21E's done too on the entire property, so
Yep.
that's...
The original price of $65,000 was largely pulled out of the cloud, if you will, and that's not meant as any disrespect. So recommending, and talking with Alan on board, he's done some preliminary look into the structure and has found that there's quite a historic story to it. But Alan understands that the best match is to find a private investor that would at least maintain the central historic part that we talked about. We know the wings are of no value. Of course, if it was on the historic register, the tax credits alone would increase the numbers to work.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not even 100 years old.
Right. Alan, if Mr. Chair, if through you, he can best explain sort of what he has found initially,
no.
and he's sort of up to the test to pass the RFP baton to Mr. Minoyan. So if you don't object, Alan, if you just come up briefly.
Threw you right under the bus.
No, he's up to the challenge.
Well, mind
I
you,
love being under this bus.
And here's, I don't know if you
I've
need.
heard many times.
How are you all?
I
Very well. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Yes, as Robert just expressed, we're prepared to engage in a exceedingly concerted and energetic and timely effort now to package this up, maybe to a little bit of a higher and focused degree to the private sector. The building, and I know this is hard to say as time is marching on, actually any properties constructed within the last 50 years are considered historic. Believe me, buildings even constructed in the 1940s and 50s, this is how old we're all getting. It's the 21st century. are actually kind of considered.
I'm not that old. Don't
Yes,
look
I
at
know,
me.
I'm sorry.
Look at him. Don't even look over here.
They do in fact qualify on the National Register of Historic Places. And the issue with this is, and those of us that package these type of deals and really package them up for the private sector to make them highly desirable, to make the numbers work, to make the project work, it is both the state and the federal historic preservation tax credits. 20% in each case. You can combine those. 40% of your total construction and redevelopment costs you can get back. These are the instruments that make these deals work for private sector developers.
I'm interested
I like
now.
him.
The tricky thing with this one, though, the challenging thing is, and we've already, spoke with our colleagues at Mass Historic Commission, the State Historic Preservation Office.
Ask him about our windows too the next time you talk to him.
Yeah, I know, the windows are a saga unto
At
themselves.
least have one of those window films put on.
Right. Unfortunately, the two wings that were added on, this is what disqualifies it currently from being on the register. And they've told me definitively, the administrator there, because of the fact that those two wings are there, it will not be eligible for the National Register. Therefore, you will not get, this building will not get the benefit of both the state and federal tax credits. If you demolish and remove those wings, and I wish they were being a little bit more, but I'm going to work on them a little bit. They're saying we're willing to give it a second look.
With the windows too, hopefully?
Yeah, he's a miracle worker.
All right. Well, he's already
This is
found
your first,
No,
he's
Mr.
already-
Chairman, this is his first test.
No, he's already found out more than the $10,000 committee did in 5 years, so.
So what we need to get, I need to work very closely in a very direct fashion with Mass Historic that we can get a commitment from them. We're going to do a very thorough analysis that if in fact those wings are removed, that it shall be eligible and it shall be placed on the register, and therefore it shall get the benefit. That we have to get this commitment. Now, whether we do that in advance in the town and get those wings removed so we can package it up, get it on the register, and I've done many National Register eligibility posts as a consultant and working for cities, get it on there, get the preservation, and put that out in RFP. That's going to take time and money up front. Or we get a commitment from Mass Historic saying, yes, we can package it up saying that Mass has already actually signed off and said, give yourselves to a developer. If that developer acquires this property, demolishes those wings, we shall actually, it will be placed on the register. We'll get the task force and this developer can go forward.
like that.
So it's sort of already packaged up and we can put that in RFP and proceed. I'll also say this quickly because the most important thing for me or anyone in this position, we exercise dispassion.
Okay.
I am not on a personal crusade to save this historic building. That's up to the citizens and the people to show that type of passion for it as a historic project. I will say this though, I was very moved when I got and started doing some deep research on this fire station. This fire station was designed by the architect whose name was George Ernest Robinson. George Ernest Robinson was the father of modern fire station architectural design in the nation. He is literally the man that is acknowledged as the inventor of the modern fire station. In Arlington on Mass Ave, the Highland Hose Company, which is the treasure of Arlington, magnificently restored in the register. This was George Ernest Robinson, 1927. Quincy, Massachusetts. Every one of his fire stations that he did across the country, every one of them is on the National Register and has been restored because they are of national significance. We have it in
Except
Ayer.
for this
But you have to put in wood windows.
One built in 1934 by George Ernest Robinson. This building is of national significance to the town. Am I being dispassionate? I have to be dispassionate.
Well, you might be being dispassionate, but you're getting us very passionate.
Okay, George Ernest Robinson, the other very interesting and noteworthy thing is he was African American. I don't know if you all know how many African American architects there were in the United States practicing in the 1930s. There were less than 10 in the nation. This is of great significance in terms of African American heritage in this man, and that's a powerful and very special thing for this town. Also, George Ernst Robson was a graduate of MIT. Do you know how many African Americans attended MIT in the 19 teens? This man, and he lived in Belmont but practiced on. This was a very important individual, and this fire station is of national significance. It's modeled, it's colonial revival, and it's actually modeled after the old State House in Boston. If you look at it, this is what he was modeled after. What he did with his stations, and I hope even our firefighters, their heritage, these stations transitioned firefighters back in the fire departments from being wanted to be technicians and to be treated as professionals. With the coming of mechanization and modernization and new scientific techniques, these stations architecturally raised the stature of the firefighters as a professional, technical, skilled, okay, and so he changed the face of what firefighters and how firefighters were to be treated and respected as skilled professionals, which was a transfer. That's what this building, believe it or not, has all to do with. And wrap up with this also, parking. Issue with parking on the site to do it. Remove those wings, you'll have a little bit. But the other good thing we need to work out and put in this package, and we're doing this everywhere downtowns now. You have an ocean of parking back here on Newton Street and around this. It's the banks. We do shared parking arrangements now in many downtowns. It's not radical or revolutionary any longer. It's standard practice. We need to work with our partners, banks, and other entities here. Because at night, these lots are empty. And where the folks reside, there's plenty. Parking is not an issue whatsoever. And we'll look at it. So, to
Appreciate
cut to
the
chase,
snapshot.
I have
we're ready to package this up, put it together.
the
make it
previous tenant, Alan,
Yes,
has something to say.
I know he doesn't.
I don't know. It's not all negative, but I think there's a little information that you missed. That building's actually had 4 additions put on it.
Yes, yes, so the ones in the rear and the second story.
Yeah, so I don't know if that
Territory.
throws a monkey wrench into
Yeah,
what you're doing.
it doesn't with Mass Historic, and I checked because it has to do with the scale of those wings. When you look at the front of the building,
Yeah.
because they're narrow alongside, it's not, but when you get like on this side of the, Calvin Moore's parking lot on the south side, the south of the building, you see the scale of it, so it overwhelms the original structure. The second story addition in the back and the addition, the 1960 addition for the excellent, that's gonna be accepted because it's not visible from the street. And that's the issue, so.
There's also one in the rear of the building.
Yes, and this is, again, this is fine. It's the side wings, and I did have something.
I just wanted to make sure that
No, you're
everybody
quite right.
knew that there was more than 2 and
Quite right.
you move forward and find out you can't do it.
Yes.
So I think it's a good idea if it could happen.
Yeah,
It's
I
worth
mean,
taking
I
a
guess-
shot to make it an asset
I am,
and get it on the tax
sure.
rolls.
I am dispassionate about the building myself, but
Thanks,
if we
Pete.
can get their agreement, then we should
Yeah.
put it on the market. Because I think the town's involvement should be
Yep.
as minimal as possible with tearing down wings
Yes.
and the like, because that inevitably was part of the RFP, I think, for the previous.
So I have to say, Mr. Chair, so what I'm just asking with the board, it doesn't require a motion or anything, is that the board authorize Alan to proceed with the disposition of the fire station. The information he's found out in the short time he's been here, just on the fire station, who knew? I didn't know. I mean, but he also, in my opinion, why we hired Alan is I have the utmost faith, based on his extensive experience and so forth, that we will move towards a successful disposition of the property. He gets that, I get that. But
And it's
we want
more valuable than it
right,
was 4
we
years
wanna
ago.
do the-
21 E's done,
Yep.
which is huge.
That's right. And I'll
Right.
tell you what, the fact of what has happened with depots, with the new pastures, the access and all this changes the game in the market also. This is a valuable piece of property to redevelop. And I picture the 20-somethings, okay, who are working Boston, are gonna get my head. This is a hot place to live, and I really see it as a mixed-use redevelopment. I wouldn't even go 2 bedrooms with this thing. I would do studios and 1 bedrooms for young professionals on the upper levels, the lower bays, which you could open up and make a very hip little cafe down there. Can you picture, it's a beautiful summer night like tonight, and outdoor cafe, those
Sitting in
bays
a
are
selectmen's
open.
meeting.
So you're sitting inside this cafe, but these bays are Rip, so you're inside but you're outside.
In air?
In air.
Oh, okay.
And the other, and the other part of this is downtown Ayer right now really fun. What downtown Ayer is it's Main Street. There's no real depth to the downtown right now. This is the first step in creating the back block. This is the new frontier of downtown Ayer.
Off Broadway.
It is coming the back and filling out the downtown.
I
This is
agree.
going to happen. So it's just all these pieces are sort of coming together,
Mhm.
and it's worth taking a really strong shot at it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
If it doesn't work,
You're in charge.
You're in charge.
No, I mean, Alan, I think it's great. Like I said, I don't want to expend a lot of money. I don't want to be dipping into the UDAG and be tearing wings off. But if you can get that commitment that if those wings are torn off,
right.
because as someone that's going to develop that, they're going to need those credits because that building needs a lot of work.
It is.
Right?
You're right. The numbers won't work.
Yeah, they won't work unless you get those grants and credits, and so
Yep.
it obviously makes it more appealing.
Yes.
All right.
And then again, the RFP, I know when it was sent out last time, it was just sort of, it wasn't, we know there's a network, and I know of a network regionally.
It was weak.
Developers.
Yeah.
And we're going to send this specifically to those that we know who are in this game, doing historic properties in downtowns.
Exactly.
I can't wait to make 3 people I know personally aware in Lowell and Nashua who do this type of stuff, and
Look at those mill buildings.
All right.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yep.
Thank you, Alan.
So Alan, yeah,
Great.
great research. I mean, you found out more than the $10,000 committee and our former economic developer did in 10 years on the building. So, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alan. Mr. Chair, thank you. The next item is appointments, part 1 of 2. It's time to do the annual appointments, and you have in your packet the proposal of the appointments and reappointments for tonight. And I just want to highlight in the packet, it's highlighted in blue, on the Cable TV Advisory Committee, there's a BOS rep, Selectman Luca, that's been you. It's proposed that continues to be you, but
Okay.
unless someone else. Also, Selectman Livingston pointed out under the Energy Committee, when the committee was created, there was a BOS representative on that committee. At the time, it was former Selectman McCreary. Then she continued in a citizen's capacity as there wasn't a selectman available. So if there is an objection, we should change that Energy Committee seat to another citizen seat, and Ms. McCreary would like to continue to serve, unless there is a selectman that wants to be on there.
Yes, basically we're changing the name, the label.
Yeah, the label.
Carolyn's been on it for a while, so yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. Carolyn's on it, but the label needs to be changed.
And then the only thing, well, you just highlighted in blue, then also for Capital Planning Committee from the BOS was Selectman Hillman. The last 2 years, we have you on for another year. And then
Like to do it?
on the Water and Sewer Rate Review Committee, the BOS rep was Selectman Livingston.
I'd like
And
to continue.
Continue. So I don't know if there are any other questions, but all of these have been vetted for reappointment.
What do you do on the Cable Advisory Committee?
Yeah, what do you do? When do you meet?
Hey, guys. I've been to many meetings.
Right,
I'm
so
not
you-
saying you haven't been. I'm just curious what it's.
Oh, we did the Comcast contract.
Yeah.
So do you need a motion for each individual person, or
Hope not.
I would,
can we say, like, the 3 years as listed and the 1-year terms as listed?
yes, so I would
Okay.
do one motion for the 3 years. and-
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I'd like to
Mr.
make,
Colin.
huh? I'd like to make a motion. What did he say?
No, it had nothing to do with you.
I'll tell you later.
If it was bad.
No,
No, it
no,
wasn't.
no,
Okay.
no, and then
All right. I make
That time it wasn't.
that time. Jeez. All right, so I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the appointments for the 3-year terms as listed in the packet presented by the town administrator.
second.
Moved and second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Selectmen appoint the members listed and for the 1-year terms in the packet as presented by the town administrator.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Congratulations.
That was easy.
All right, so we will notify everyone, and for the public, it will be on the website. And
Cool.
moving on, the next is the 111F medical payment.
Yeah.
As the board is aware, the 111F police officer issue has been officially closed. However,
6 years.
the outstanding balance owed on this, for which the town is legally responsible for, is an amount of $22,596.68. Since there was no appropriation for this, and the bill does need to be paid, I'm respectfully requesting that the board authorize that we use the UDAG funds with it to be replaced by the fall town meeting.
It goes
And-
free cash.
Oh, can we?
Well,
a one-time
in the
use.
fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are keeping a list as to everything we've
Yes.
taken out of the UDAG, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You
Yep.
know, it's like that teenager that gets the first credit card.
'Cause, you know, for like 5 minutes there tonight, we weren't going to use it.
Yeah. Last of that one.
All right. I'd like to make a motion that the reserve fund transfer in the amount of $47,675 be transferred to the account name Town Council, account number 01151.
I'm sorry, Select.
Oh, sorry. Did I do something wrong?
That's different.
Oh.
You can, it's in my administrative packet, I know.
Oh.
No,
well,
that confused me too, Janice, because I said I
I
have.
thought something
Yeah,
was
that's
wrong.
that's the next one.
Okay. I'd like to, this is still a reserve fund transfer, right?
It's just
No,
a
it's just
authorization for UDAG.
authorization for the UDAG. All right, I'm so confused now. Okay. I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Selectmen authorize the use of the UDAG to pay the remaining balance of medical expenses for the 111F police officer in the amount of $55,763.04. Is that right?
No.
What?
Everything's right
Oh,
except
for
the amount.
Christ's sakes, read what you want said and I'll second it.
Everything Selectman Livingston said with the revised number, $22,596.68.
I like that number better. Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Rob, is the total amount that we've paid out like $300,000 or?
The total amount paid out since 2010 is approximately $868,000, of which I will get from the accountant. There was a percentage, though, of the wages that was reimbursed by the town's insurance. So I can get you the final breakdown.
This is a gentleman that worked here for
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
How come Massachusetts?
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay, wait a minute.
Yep.
It was
Moved
second.
and seconded, any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Now, the next one is a reserve fund transfer for the town council account. I'm
Yes, you're familiar with that one. Why don't you read that
respectfully
one?
requesting $47,675 be transferred to town council account. The present balance in the budget was, as of June 3rd, was $4,635. However, as we still have to pay the May 2016 town council bill, the June 2016 town council bill, which is estimated to be about $14,000, and then there was approximately $20,000 in eminent domain legal costs.
Money well spent.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Now?
You-
Okay.
yep.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the reserve fund transfer in the amount of $47,675 to be transferred to the account named Town Council, account number 01151, as laid out by the town administrator.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And then lastly, Mr. Chairman, in your packet is the consultant contract with Community Opportunities Group for the master plan process in the amount of $100,000 as approved by town meeting on May 9th. This is to review and update the master plan.
It's a lot of money.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
way too much money.
Yeah.
But that's not our fault on that.
Okay. So, you need a motion to approve the contract, right?
Correct.
All right. I'm making a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the agreement by, in between Town of Ayer, Massachusetts and Community Opportunities Group Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $100,000
Correct.
as laid out in the packet.
What do you think the odds are it comes in at $60,000?
None at all. Do you have a second?
Yeah, I second.
Discussion? I don't understand why it's that much. Can anybody explain it? I mean, that's
The first RFP had what, $15,000 on it or something? Nobody replied in consultation,
I was at that
looking
meeting,
at
actually,
reviewing other consultations for other towns and whatnot. That's where it came back. And didn't we have the was it MRPC that sat there with us? And they told us the reason why nobody replied is it went too low.
I think it's almost a niche. I
It-
mean, that's
it is.
the
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
rate.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably know a lot about that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, that's the going rate, and that's,
I'm gonna be.
there's only a few that do it. and-
There you go.
I'll withhold the cynical comment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
just want to make a small amendment to my motion to be signed by the chair.
Can I just make, I mean, and
It's
this
done.
is, I know it's done, I'm just throwing it so there. Every other town's done master plans.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to hire a consultant? I mean, didn't we just
No.
steal somebody else's ideas? I mean, look around. I mean, we have qualified people. We need a consultant to tell us to,
Uh-huh.
I think
what
I
to
know,
do
I
with
agree.
parking and.
I agree.
And I think a lot of folk, we discussed it at the committee too. We learned, I think that's best put, as you said, Selectman Luke, it's a niche. That's the going rate.
I said it, but.
You did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, what I'm hoping,
Yeah, for you.
personally, what I'm hoping is that this consultant is going to come up with a master plan that can be read without everybody falling asleep. And it's not going to be 3,000 pages of stuff that says nothing. It basically
Of course it's
is.
gonna be, yeah.
It should be all the shall statements. The shoulds and the shall statements is what it should be. You've got your wish list from the residents, you've got your wish list from the departments, laid out nice, printed out, go.
Is it plagiarism if you let another town do it and then?
No,
No, I know you're on the committee, and I'm not trying to be rude. It just seems like, I mean, what if they, my example is the employment, the non-union study.
Yeah.
Which was flawed tremendously in many different ways.
well, this is, like I said, this is more of a wish list. It's a town wish list, when you really strip it right down to what
It's
it
an
is.
expensive wish list.
You know, that's kind of required, and it's really then supposed to be kind of put in front of the Board of Selectmen and say, okay, Board of Selectmen, present, future, this is what needs to be done, and this is when it should be done, and so that every year, we got this off the list, we got this off.
No, but what if it isn't
You
good?
know?
What if we hire somebody and he comes up with $100,000 of crap?
Well, I don't think that'll happen in this case. I have not met this individual, but I've heard
It might be
wonderful
fun.
things about this individual, and I believe this particular company and individual is familiar with us and
But there's only
whatnot.
3 of them in the state, probably. But
Mrs.
Yeah.
Copeland.
I just wanted, because I'm on the master plan committee, as well as a resident of the town, and to say we could possibly plagiarize from another town, that's why I don't live in Groton, I don't live in Shirley, and I don't live in Harvard. I live in Ayer. So we want to guide this to go the right way by virtue of the state. We have to update this every 10 years.
Mhm.
It's not a made-up.
No, I understand, but they're pretty. I mean, a
But-
lot of them are pretty cookie cutter. I mean, in my opinion, I've seen
Maybe,
other
maybe,
communities.
but let's
It's generalized.
But let's put, I mean, we have a group of people that want to invest their time.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I want it to be
So
fantastic. I
copying
just.
from another town is the worst idea of it all.
That's what we
because
did
we're
with the.
nothing like-
That's what we did with the
But that's completely different.
bylaw.
That's apples and bricks. This is a master plan.
Not apples and oranges, it's apples and bricks, it's not a non-compensation plan.
I'm just concerned, Sue, that,
The cost, I'm not defending the cost.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
only speaking on the plagiar, like copying from another town.
It was said in
That's
jest.
I understand, but I'm
But
just.
that's $100,000 is a lot of money to get, we don't know what we're gonna
Yeah, I'm
get.
not talking about the cost.
I mean, you look at the last master plan, and I don't think there's anything been checked off of it,
No.
Well, and that brings up a good point,
you know?
because
They've been
the
saying
committee
something.
has said that numerous
Yeah,
times.
it's very aware of
It's
that.
been quite the bone of contention
Yeah.
with them that the previous boards of selectmen were not looking at the comprehensive plan. And I have personally said that this board and that we will ensure that the future boards of selectmen do pay attention to the master plan.
There is,
Why are you speaking for
I,
the whole board?
I didn't speak for the whole board. I said I spoke for myself.
Oh, okay.
But that I was gonna do it, but why wouldn't we want it, to pay attention to it?
You would to a point, there's stuff you might not agree with.
But if the residents are, it's saying the residents want it, and the Parks Commission has said this is what needs to be done, and town clerk said this is what needs to be done, yeah, you kinda gotta pay attention to it. You might differ as to what year you're gonna do it in due to funding and whatnot, but you do have to pay attention to it.
I guess it's irrelevant because it was approved at town meeting for $100,000. They hired a consultant. We're just basically saying we thought it was too much. I think we said it before, that's all.
Mhm.
And it's not the town's fault, it's not the committee's fault, it's just, it's a niche. And-
Yeah, we were surprised when it came back.
Yeah.
You want to say something?
no, everything's been
And
said.
hopefully, I mean, I'm sure the committee will hold this person very accountable.
Oh, they will.
So that's kind of didn't happen with the study on the,
I know, compensation.
yeah. so.
All right.
that's-
And we, on the compensation study, we did also withhold.
Oh, no,
money.
I know you did. It
And
was just,
the
yeah.
same, that's fair with any consultant that
Okay.
fails to deliver. Yep.
Moved and second, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Members of the board, thank you.
You all done?
That completes my report.
New business, selectmen's questions? I have one thing. Summer schedule, Robert, we briefly discussed it on having a meeting in July and having a meeting in August. Do we definitively decide what the dates were on that?
I think we did for July, but we were up in the air
Yeah, so-
for August.
July,
I'm
Yep.
away the last month of July.
so
That's-
the board will meet on June 21st for the second June meeting.
Right.
And then,
School get out, I think.
pardon me, and then we'll go to, what was proposed was Tuesday, July 12th, as
Okay.
opposed to July 5th, because that's what the holiday. So Tuesday, July 12th,
Okay.
and then, what was,
14th or something?
16th, Tuesday, August 16th.
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah, because then that'll,
And then back to the 2 meetings a month in September, so,
I was thinking of going to the 23rd, but that might be pushing it a little bit. But then we'll meet the day after Labor Day.
yeah.
Okay.
So you'll meet June 21st, July 12th, August 16th,
Okay.
and then back September 6th.
That's providing we don't have anything in between.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Might come up. All right, cool.
All right.
Anybody else?
Just, are the stumps behind town hall, are we waiting for them to rot, or are they gonna be grinded out of there?
No, the tree warden
Absolutely.
has a reserve fund transfer that's going to be approved by the FinCom. We ran out of money.
Doing what?
Some of the other tree removal. So once
Love to have a list, but.
we will work on that, but I asked about the stumps, and once he gets the money from the RFT, they'll be removed.
Is there any way to get an accounting of how the money is spent?
Yes.
Yeah, because we talked about that at our last meeting.
I mean, because we
Right.
raised the budget, like doubled
Yeah.
it or something.
Yeah.
right?
It'd just be nice to know where it
All right.
goes, that's all.
Well, yeah, I can get that. Is
You know,
for the 21st.
$1,000 to take down this tree and
Well,
500 to
even-
replant trees here
Yeah.
and
I
stop
even-
grinding and.
There isn't a replan. And going forward, I think, into next fiscal year, yeah.
Okay.
I don't want it to make it sound like we're calling out the individual, but it's just we're kind of in the dark. The budget's gone.
Right.
It'd be like
Mm-hmm.
the town clerk saying, well, my budget's gone. Where'd it go? Well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
But we need
Okay.
more money.
Anybody got anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, minutes?
Oh,
I wasn't here.
Janice wasn't here. I make a motion to approve the minutes of May 17th, 2016, and June 1st, 2016. What was that?
That was
June
the,
1st was last week.
the order of taking.
Oh, yes, June 1st, 2016, yes.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Those are the originals.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, executive session.
Oh, God, I forgot about that. 8:20. Yeah, we're there.
We're close.
9:20. What are you talking about, 8:20?
No, it says 8:20 on the thing.
Days today, is it still the 7th?
It's still the 7th.
To move that we moved into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law 30A, Section 21A, Exemption 3, collective bargaining, fire union grievances. And to exit out of executive session.
Thank you.
To adjourn for the night. And doing this in open session would be detrimental to any discussion.
Good to me. Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, Janice?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Chair says aye, we're in executive session.
All right, I